No, it's all good. It's going. It's just a bit slow, but it's going. All right. So welcome to our 6th live stream for Web3.
Slow, but it's going.
Oh, there it goes. I'm going to try to catch up with Beltran and Mitch's wonderful moderation here. But I'm super stoked. We have James from Spank Chain who's going to do a demo, which is we're going to try to keep it suitable for work, but we'll see. None of us work anyway, right? So it should be fine. And then we're going to just start with a quick intro round that we usually do. There you go. Beltran has a Spank Chain sticker already. And the parties at ETH Berlin were awesome. So we're just going to do a quick go around. Everyone introduce yourself, just 30 seconds, like your name, who you work for, any intentions you have of being here. So we will start with Zach.
Hi, everybody. Zach Kalman, product design at Consensus, working on the design system team. I'm here to hear what people are doing and just share periodically our progress too.
And then just choose somebody.
How about Johnny?
Hey everybody, I'm Johnny. I work on Uport and I'm also, which is part of Consensus, and I'm a product designer. And let's go with Colin.
Hi everyone, my name is Colin. I'm co-founder and on the product design team at Colony. Probably just like all of you, trying to solve some of the Web 3.0 UX challenges, onboarding new users, batching transactions, etc. So happy to be here. Sebastian?
Yeah, so my name is Sebastian. I head design at Codex, which is a registry for unique assets, everything from fine wine to watches, collectibles, stuff like that. My intention for the call is mostly just to get more connected to the Web3 design community.
Choose somebody.
Yeah, Peter.
Hey guys, I'm just working on Tenzorum, like a protocol for gasless transactions. Working with different people around the space. Yeah, just keen to keep updating what's happening in the space.
Choose somebody.
Right, yeah. I've had a lot of issues with this. Sarah.
I'm here for you. I'm Sarah. I'm the head of design at Consensus, and I'm here just for community, just to hang out, see what's up. So, Nue.
Hello again. I am Nue. I work at Civil. We are building a new economy for journalism. I am the lead product designer there, and journalism. Civil is also a part of Consensus. I work on the governance, the TCR product of Civil. And I am here to hang out, meet all of you, get to know you, see your faces, because I work remotely and I kind of miss people sometimes. So nice to see you all. And I'm going to pass this on to Beltran.
Hi, I'm Beltran. I'm the ENS user experience designer, and I'm also working with Akil and Alejandro on building a Web3 design system and a library of components to give consistency to the UX across different dApps. So I'm interested in talking to all of you. What are the UX problems? What are the current solutions? And what better solutions we can invent together? And I'll give it to James, today's invited guest.
Hi, thanks for having me. My name is James Young. I'm VP of Engineering at Spank Chain. It's great to be involved, and my main focus is to learn as much as I can and share my experience or our experience in terms of what it's been like with issues we've had with like user experience and user adoption, and anything else relevant to UI UX. I'll pass it up to Laura.
I was afraid that was going to happen. Just kidding. Hi, everybody. I'm Laura. I'm part of Consensus, and I'm on the design system and design research team. I'm just here today, excited for this demo and just to say hi to everybody and hang out, even though I know a lot of you. But it's great to be here and nice to meet some of you.
We're gonna choose.
I forgot to nominate somebody. Let's see. Let me scroll through everybody. Has Akil gone yet?
Akil?
Hello?
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, how's it going? Akil here. Involved with a few community projects, working with Beltran on some design research. Recently helped put on the UXN conference, so we're going to touch on that and what came of the working groups that we held in Berlin. So hopefully we get to continue the work that was done there and kind of facilitate conversations moving forward. Look forward to seeing the demo.
And Riley.
Hey everyone, I'm Riley Houston, product designer at Consensus. I work on a product called TrueSet, and I'm just interested to learn and meet everyone here. Let's see, TJ, how you going?
Oh man, thought I snuck out of this. TJ, product designer, Consensus. Just here to meet folks, see this demo, and yeah, I'm glad I have power because we got a hurricane rolling through. So, who hadn't gone yet? Can you give me a little hands up? All right, I see you right there.
I'll just say my name for you. It's Ryan.
Yeah,
it's so weird. It's not your fault.
Thanks.
Yeah. It's like if you wanted people to pronounce it Ryan, just spell it Ryan. You know, Ann's a word. So hi, I'm Ryan. This is my third day at Consensus, and I certainly wasn't told. I was like, this would be cool. You're invited. So I'm not sure what to expect, and I'm with the design facilitation team.
And then, is it Yin? It last.
New way.
Yeah, hi everyone. This is Yun, also from Consensus. I'm a product designer. I'm here to my first time in this call and want to see the demo and see what. Should I pass to anyone or I'm the last one?
Okay, perfect. All right, so we're super excited. We're going to have James start with the demo. We love to just ground kind of these presentations. So James, take it away.
All right, great. Feel free to interrupt at any moment in time. Just to set some context here, I will start out with a slide deck because at spank.live, which is our live site, we actually stream the thumbnails as live video that's occurring on the site in real time. So what's currently going on, and I don't have control of those videos. So I'm just going to try to visually manage this as much as possible to keep this safe for work. So let me first start by sharing my slides. And I'm going to walk through the onboarding that we have for our wallet. And we had to build our own custom wallet because it's a state channel based wallet. And so Wait, can everyone hear me, by the way? I feel like I'm just rambling on and I'm not getting, okay.
Yeah.
Didn't know if I was talking into the void. So this is an onboarding. I'll quickly walk through it. It's very similar to what you would expect in a traditional wallet with a few caveats. So first, we require a username and password to be able to get back into the site. And hold on, yeah, username, password, create password, get into the site. You are have your seed phrases. The reason why we have this in the wallet is because just to take a small step back, when you log into the site, your kind of identity, as for now, is your public key. We're actively moving toward a system where we'll eventually move to account abstraction, where you'll have a smart contract that serves as your identity. And we are exploring and went to the unconference in Berlin to explore ERC 725, 735 integration. Any questions so far? Any issues while I try to forward through the slide deck? Okay, so you get a wallet address. After that, you create your profile, and then once you do that, you're in the site. So at the very beginning, you don't have any funds. And now I'm going to go through the funding flow, which is a bit unique because, again, we're dealing with state channels. What happens is we have the Web3 object. It's served from an iframe. So the wallet is, the code for the wallet is coming from an iframe from our site. The key is actually stored in your local storage on your browser. And we have a web worker that pulls and keeps an active connection with our hub, which is how we do the micropayments and also the blockchain. And so when a user deposits money or ETH into their wallet, the wallet then takes that and creates a deposit into a smart contract, which serves as the base for the state channel. And I'll walk through that right now. So we go through the funding, go through the three different options right under to the right of the card, right under the dollar amount. There's the receive, there's send, and there's activity. So on receive, you see your wallet address. And we have QR code, and you can copy and then your address and make it convenient for the user. And then a small guide to help new users that aren't familiar with what a wallet address is or may want more information. The funding screen or the send screen is where if you want to close out your channel and you want to send your funds to like your MetaMask account, this is where you would do that. And then lastly, there is this activity screen. And obviously when you start, you don't have any activity, but since we're dealing with micropayments and state channels, all of the activity that happens in the channel is off chain. And so here in this activity screen is where you'll see all your off-chain transactions. And so if I want to fund my wallet, and so in this screen, what you don't see is the user going to MetaMask and funding their wallet. What you see here is the wallet recognizing that funds have entered into the wallet. And there's this two-step process. It's two transactions. The first transaction is from MetaMask to the wallet, and then the wallet depositing into a smart contract, which begins the off-chain process. So it's two transactions, this screen, and this is the point where it causes the most user friction because the user is waiting. We decided to kind of hide away the complexity for the user and just have minimal notifications instead of overwhelming the user with information or, providing a view into having the flow being shown where you are depositing into your wallet and that transaction clearing, and then depositing into the smart contract. If people or users want to know, they can always go to Etherscan, and I took a screenshot of that. But the tech that the road we took was just a minimal UI. And so this is another confusing aspect that we're actively researching, but it's live on the site now. Once your wallet is funded, you can start tipping. However, we cannot put all of the funds that you have deposited into the state channel because you need to, as a user, be able to have enough gas to close out that channel. So this first number here, 110 fin. Finny is what we use to denote how much you have in your wallet. 110 fin has been put into the channel. 37 fin has been left in the cards. So your total amount as a user is 147, but you only have 110 available for tipping. We reserve 37 because we kind of overestimate or conservative because we don't really know what gas prices are going to be when a user wants to withdraw. So we err a bit on the high side. But 37 fin is in your card so that if you want to withdraw and close a channel and initiate that withdrawal, you have enough gas to be able to do so. And so it's like these two screens, we've gone back and forth on a lot, and we have many design iterations, and we settled on just the kind of minimum needed to show the user as to not to confuse them. The default user that we are catering to is someone that doesn't really understand the inner workings of Ethereum, gas, state channels. But once you have the fund after that second transaction deposit, you can now start tipping. And this is, if you want to go to Etherscan, you can see there's these two transactions. The first transaction is the ETH going into the wallet, and then the second transaction is the wallet automatically depositing a portion that was sent to the wallet into a smart contract. Any questions?
Plenty, but we can keep them at the end, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. And so what I will do is I will see if I can, one sec. I will stop screen sharing for a second. I will go to the site, and then I will see if I can go onto the site. So, okay. So, one sec. So now, let me go back and share my screen. So once you get into the site, can everyone see my screen share now? Okay, so once you're in the site, you're presented with you know, the thumbnails, and then once you click on a thumbnail, you are inside of a performer's room. So I can say, hi Wills, this is James. And now that I have, I can show you. I can unlock my card. I've set up my username, it's hello there. I have $17, you know, on my card that I can tip, and now I can start tipping. So once I tip, the performer can actually tell that they've been tipped. And there's an audio cue there. I don't know if you could hear that, that a tip has been made. I can increase my tip. And in the chat window, say hi to everyone. So I can make it, now that I'm presenting, I can, actually, he is at my command. So anyway, this is the site, you know.
We don't have commands for him? No, just kidding.
So let's see if he jumps.
Come on. At least take off the hat. I don't know.
So, yeah, so this is a site, it's live streaming. You know, we are a little bit different than other video streaming sites out there as well, because for us, latency is a big or huge consideration, especially for the viewer to performer relationship. And the tips need to, you know, be instantaneous. And because they're instantaneous, we need to make sure that the latency of the video is also really good. So we've worked really hard and using WebRTC in a scalable fashion. I think we're actually one of the first sites to do that. We have a latency of less than a second. So once I tip and the tip goes through, you can see the performer's reaction in less than a second or so.
Amazing. Do we want to open up to questions here?
Do you have something else to show, or?
Yeah, I can also show, wait, hold on. His audio is coming through in my headphones. So I will, I can also show, well, I can also show the UI for our staking interface. So we have released, prior to ETH Berlin, our staking interface where our token holders can stake their Spank, and we have a second fee coin called Booty that is generated, and we're going to move over to a new version of our state channel. So our third implementation of state channels, our first one was a custodial hub where it was just a micro payment channel from the viewer to our hub. Our current version is the V2 is our live, that's live now, is non-custodial. So in our first version, we had a hot wallet that would just pay out to the performers whenever they wanted to withdraw, but the performer didn't have a direct relationship, you know, connection with the viewer. The current site that's live now is non-custodial, and the viewer and performer have a direct, well, they have a relationship which is indirect and facilitated through the hub, so that a viewer doesn't have to have many different channels with, you know, n number of performers. They just need to have one connection with our hub, and we are essentially a proxy in a non-custodial way. So we can't access or have rights to funds on either side. So that's our current version. And then our third version in V3 that we're going to launch is actually going to take use of our feed coin called Booty. And we are no longer going to support tips in ETH. We're going to use Booty as a stable coin in our system that will be equivalent to $1. And so we found out that for our general mass audience, having them have to think about the volatility or the price of ETH is an extra barrier when it comes to usability and adoption. And so we prioritized getting, and this is why we need our bank, so that we can facilitate the use of staking our token and then generating Booty, so that from a user experience perspective, when they go to spank.live compared to any other CAM site, they can actually understand how much they're tipping, and performers can understand how much they're earning, because it's all going to be relative to a stable dollar amount.
Awesome. And we can open up for questions here.
So many questions. Does the performer see the same flow, or they have a different flow to add their own card, wallet, whatever, on one side?
That's a great question. The performers have a separate flow. They have to be approved because we do KYC for the performers as well. Right now, we're only available for performers in the United States. We're working on rolling out internationally, and they have to provide, their age verification information.
But they have a card like the others, right?
Yes. So as a performer, you'll have a card, and it's a very similar experience in terms of onboarding. The main difference is that you see your in total increment up instead of going down every time, when you receive a tip.
Okay. I have more questions, but if somebody wants to ask also.
Yeah. So when a new user comes to the site, they're going to be confronted with Spank, Booty, Finny, Ether, and USD throughout different parts of this flow. Is that how, I'm sure that is not ideal. Are you getting rid of Finny? Is that what I understood?
Yeah. Okay. So that's a good question. So the bank.spankchain.com is not something that is going to be visible or used by people that want to view the CAM site. So I should have made a better disclaimer. The CAM site right now is just ETH and Finny. And when we move to the version 3 of the site, the CAM site, as a viewer, you will only use ETH for Booty, and Booty will be equivalent to $1. So it's an easier abstraction to understand. As a Spank chain token holder that holds Spank, you would go to a separate interface. You would go to bank.spankchain.com and you would stake your Spank in order to be able to have the right to generate Booty. And this is kind of our token mechanism, our kind of mechanism design for the token. And what happens is that every 30 days, new Booty gets generated depending on how much Booty was used. It's very similar, without getting into too much of the detail in terms of the mechanism design, to the original Gnosis model, their two-token model.
Cool. That makes sense.
How do you explain Spank and Booty and how they work to the user? This is one of the biggest questions. I've tried to some people, but I fail miserably all the time.
Yeah. So we have different documentation, and we definitely could, have more material. And we're working on that material now. And we're finally at a point where we're going to be able to use our fee token, fee coin booty. For us, in terms of a project, what we wanted to make sure is that we had we could execute. And so, belief of this system that has multiple parts. And instead of making sure all the parts work together before we launch, we incrementally launched along the way. So we wanted to make sure that we nailed the video streaming experience. So we wanted to make sure that we get under the second latency. So even in Google Hangouts, I think can have a maximum of 12 participants or something like that. Because of the nature of the way WebRTC works, you get into this problem of, kind of least common denominator. And so we had to, work really hard, and we had contractors, experts in the field to help us with making sure that our video latency remained low while being able to be scalable. And so what we decided to do was launch the video streaming service using ETH and Finny. And then, we broke that down and said, okay, well, now we have to work on our economy. And so making our token useful. And so, we switched over and started doing that. And this is what you see now and manifests in, the bank.spainchain.com. And, in terms of interacting with the video site and how that works specifically with our economy, instead of remaining theoretical, we wanted to actually show practical use case. So now we're at a point, and we're super excited because starting October 5th, we'll be able to switch over and actually use our full system. And then at that point, we'll be able to have better kind of documentation around all of what we were envisioning, because it's much easier to explain once you can point to things that are using that are live.
That's cool. I think we have a question for one more time for one more question. If anyone who hasn't spoken wanted to ask Ryan.
Yeah, I have a question. Yeah, so I'm relatively new to this space, and I guess I'm keen to understand the extent to which, how much has CAM culture had to change to be a part of blockchain versus is it just kind of taking blockchain and kind of gluing it onto an existing culture?
That's a great question.
Behaviors, rules of engagement.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that for us, what UI UX really is it's not just kind of like this theoretical personas, but actually having real contact with our community. And so our Discord group is really active, and so there is a lot of things that from me, my perspective, I'm an engineer, I'm a technologist, but what I've really come to understand and appreciate is that with all these projects, these different blockchain projects, they're going to be different, even from a technical perspective, because the token, this is my belief, the token is a representation of the community. It's the only thing that binds the community together. So each token is going to be a little different. And so this is what we're figuring out and we're negotiating. I don't think there's one way or ever be one right way to do something, because all communities are different. People are different. And so, a lot of our experience and what we need to advocate for is for our community. And we can't lose sight of that. And so, it's, cool, I guess, to do theoretical things when it comes to what's possible in blockchain. But, that is more research more than anything else. We want to err on the side of trying to remain grounded and practical. And that really is always making sure that we go back to our community and making sure it's community first.
Okay. Can we ask the last question? Because they are probably the only ones with users that are outside of the blockchain. Maybe you can tell a few things about that. Onboarding users that know nothing about the blockchain. Did you have experiences with that?
Yeah. People are I lost my seed phrase, so I went to ethereum.org and I want to restore my seed phrase. Where's that button? And you get I think that even us, right? In terms of like showing the seed phrase, that is just as like a non-starter for a lot of mainstream adoption. So this is why we're really interested in doing investigations with the upcoming hard fork. There's going to be a new opcode create 2 that allows you to actually know what the contract address is before it is deployed. It's difficult to do that right now. And so once you have that, you're like, how is that related to user experience? Well, what we want to do, since we're doing state channels and microtransactions, we're going to, I think, move to a system that's off-chain first. And really, it's like, having the burden of asking a user to know a mnemonic, know their seed phrase, when they have zero value, 0 ETH, is kind of like a non-starter. So it's this context that you're telling the user, understand and learn all this stuff. I think, it's really hard to do that. I think if we can bend the technology to make it so that the technology goes to the user, so that you start off-chain first. And really the user will only care once they, are incentivized, right? So you don't really care about your contract being deployed or having account abstraction or, having, a subdomain with your name on ENS or any of that until you want to withdraw once you get value. So I think it's that kind of touch point that we're researching as keep everything off chain, have everything be side messages off chain. And then when the user wants to withdraw, that's when we say, hey, you know what, there's this thing called like, the seed phrase that you may want to keep for yourself. And then, there's a bunch of ideas that we have also when it comes to account recovery. So we may be, in terms of like, I think we were talking with Martin at Gnosis, and he was saying, he coined the term minimum viable centralization, where you may have like a username password recovery system, but it might be only usable up to a certain amount of like value that the user defines, because one user like 0.001 ETH may be a lot to them. And they were like, okay, the default may be that you have like its username password recovery centralized system. And then after a certain point that the user defines, they can, decide to remove that. With account abstraction, you have, I think, a better or more flexible way of being able to manage keys. And so with that, we're doing a lot of research there. And essentially it boils down to like not trying to have to make sure that the users know X, Y, and Z and know about blockchains themselves, but that the system, devising a system that's flexible enough so that they can inch into decentralization based off a context that's comfortable for them when they want to. So it may look like, onboarding just like Facebook, Twitter, or Google at first, because that's what the user is used to. And that's what they just want to use the service. And once at certain event points, some trigger points in terms of like when they want to withdraw and whatnot, then you kind of ease them or nudge them into, a decentralized path. And they're motivated to then learn why that's better.
That's fascinating. Well, so we have one more question I think that Niue wants to ask, and then I have to be bad cop because we've got a little bit of more agenda to talk to, and we'll fly through that. Niue, did you want to ask?
Sure. When we first formed Civil, I wrote this in the chat so I wouldn't forget, but we did a lot of research into how SpaintChain approach microchipping, because it's one of the things that we wanted to implement with our platform as well. So I wanted to know if there's anything that you learned, any quick insights that you could pass on to since this launched.
Yeah, I think what we've realized is that the ecosystem could use a service like this in general. And Amin is a huge proponent of like, not quote unquote reinventing the wheel, right? It exists now. And if the blockchain is a coordination mechanism tool. Can't we organize ourselves in an ecosystem where we could all leverage each other's work so that Civil could use potentially, some substrate of the micro tipping, infrastructure that we've built out. I can't say anything or announce anything publicly now, but we're super excited about like that possibility happening. And I think that that's something that we're actively working on because, we want to make sure that we can, pay it forward in terms of like our experience, not only from the usability side, but from like a technical side so that, other projects can potentially leverage this as well. And we're all equally, there's equilibrium in terms of incentivization to be able to do so. And we're actively working on that. And so that's the biggest thing that I've learned from like a higher level, like ecosystem thing is like, we're all in it together, in this decentralized future. It's, permissionless. It's not like winner take all. It's different forms of like, co-opetition, if you will. And so trying to figure out those organizational systems at the same time so that, projects can leverage each other for their own use case.
That's great. I think if anything says it, this is like the largest participant pool. So everyone's really interested in what you guys are doing and how that can be used in like many mechanics, right, of what we have. So thank you so much, James. It's really helpful. And if you guys have other questions, is that okay for us to reach out to you?
Yes, please.
The conversation could continue at the Telegram channel. And so now we're just going to quickly move on to Akil, and he's just going to give us a little debrief of the conference we just had. Akil, are you here?
Yep. Hey, guys.
Perfect.
So we had the conference at Berlin Blockchain Week. There were quite a few interesting topics that we covered as far as what type of language we should be using, UX lessons learned as far as status. We had some talks on ideal dApp user experiences, onboarding, and then how like wallets and universal logins and identity plays all into that. So Johnny had a really good talk about human-centered identity. And then we, from there, took off and broke off into different working groups, one which was identity, followed by wallets, education, and user onboarding. So I think there was quite a few interactions that seemed fruitful as far as like facilitating what James is talking about, the co-option and collaboration in the ecosystem and moving things forward. So especially from identity side of things, I don't know, Johnny can perhaps provide more insight into if there's any actual progress happening in that respect, because there was quite a few conversations that kind of lasted even after the event ended. So there's hopes that we can kind of bring the community together and focus on the bigger issues as far as identity and the semantics of what 725 means and how Uport and other ecosystem players kind of play into that. So the applications and different projects that do need these ecosystem centric solutions can kind of start working together and move those things forward. So hopefully we'll have more chances to kind of collaborate at Prague or maybe the Web3 Summit and move the conversations forward. So I'd encourage all of you to go check out the Discuss channel on Conflux, because Hester put up a great post in regards to the education side of things. I know a lot of you are interested in moving that forward. So maybe developing a working group around education would be the first step. And then obviously internally, there will be other working groups established as far as wallets, identity, and user onboarding. So I'll leave it to Beltran to kind of talk about the progress that was done as far as the UX workshop that Golem facilitated at Berlin, and where that work is going in the future.
Yeah, so thank you. Yeah, we worked a lot on the onboarding side. So James, thank you. It was very instructive. And there's a lot of patterns coming together. You mentioned a few of them: accounts abstraction, etherless accounts, meta transactions. And with Amy and a couple of other devs who are not here, we've hacked a way to allow users to get on, to try a DApp without ever seeing gas, ether, wallet, without having to install anything. And we're going to share a bit more about that. But I think there is a group of people from Golem mainly, who want to have a side conversation only about onboarding. And as far as Maria Paula was saying when we were at ETH Berlin, she wants to have like a weekly call on that. Maybe weekly is a little bit too much, but so there are these side groups that are starting to form, and that came into thinking if we need to move from a Telegram group, which is a single chat, to have a chat that has different rooms. And there is a quick poll, very good one, thank you. And we have the same poll online on Google Forms if you want to discuss about that a little bit by little. I don't know if it's important or not. One more important thing I wanted to relate is that tomorrow, the 15th, is the last day to submit ideas for Web3 Summit. And right now, Web3 Summit has very few design ideas compared to DevCon. And maybe in the next call, we can prepare of what, or if we want, those that have been selected for DevCon, we can talk about what is coming for DevCon and start preparing the grounds. But if you want, tomorrow there is a deadline to talk about something that we could do at Web3 Summit. So if you want, we can have a brainstorm about that right now. Or
I was supposed to have a call with Josh from Web3, but he canceled on me. So that was great. I was supposed to talk about that early today. So I was thinking like, basically, this idea initially started out as a node for Web3, but what if like I was thinking of like just basically for large conferences, right? We could just mainly help coordinate teams that want to do user research better with the conference itself. Because at ETH Berlin, right, you had a lot of user researchers such as Phil from Status, where he's just struggling to recruit people. And it would have been awesome if you could actually recruit, like have different teams, put up a bulletin board and get that championed by the event, right? And be posted and spammed everywhere, right? Just to be like, hey, this team is looking to interview these people and blah, 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 rewards and such. And I initially wanted to do a user research node for Web3 Summit, but I think we could also do that for DevCon potentially. Beltran, you're kind of heading the design thing, hackerspace for DevCon. So that might be really cool, you know, because there's 3,000 people there. You're going to have a lot of people. And that's like amazing opportunity. If you're a team, you could just smash out, like, it's like 4 days DevCon, right? You could smash out like a lot of user research that would otherwise might take you like a month to coordinate and recruit and schedule and such, right? So that's just an idea that I've been playing with, yeah.
So what I guess in relation for DevCon, so the submissions that were accepted, we had kind of a few that people were talking about at large. Obviously, there was a couple of submissions I submitted on behalf of our open source group, and one of them is the UX DApp audit. And so designers and dApps can sign up, and they would and then we would match them with like 2 designers per DApp and kind of get some feedback. And there's a bounty system, so you do get paid as designer auditing. And so that's one. We haven't figured out the whole process of any of these. So if you have ideas, please reach out. The proposal is, I'll share the Airtable again of the exact thing that we submitted. Same with a UX design award is now up. It was accepted as well. And that's going to be a presentation format. So it's going to, how I submitted it is top 3. There's categories. So there's like wallet, onboarding, overall UX, like it's in different categories, and you could submit, and basically a couple of design leaders, I don't know, like we're going to choose a group from this group, I guess, and they would choose a top 3 of the total categories, not of each, to present their dApps, and then the audience will vote. So it'll be voted by the audience, not necessarily by us. And so we're also working on that. And I believe one more, Laura, if you want to mention, the design systems talk was accepted. And anybody else in the chat that who is here that have any acceptances?
Yes. So I submitted the open source Web3 design systems talk, and I can share that abstract with the group later. And I believe it'll be Beltran, Alejandro, Akil, and Gustavo from my team, although it could just be him or me. And I'm hoping we can get together to chat about the format of those 20 minutes. We'd love to have presentations in the panel, maybe open Q&A, but definitely would like to discuss the best way to move forward with that, how we can collaborate. And that's it for me.
Awesome. Anybody else? I forgot who else. I think there was a couple people. I think Lily actually from CryptoDex, and Akil, or no, is it Akil? Is it you? There's also one.
Lily and I have identity and reputation work group type situation as a breakout room. So we're trying to recruit all the people that were at the unconference. So Johnny, we'll be trying to coordinate with you as well. And then any reputation or credentialing platforms that you guys come across with, it'd be great to kind of get in touch with those people as well. So we'll be facilitating conversations going forward for that as well.
And then Yue, what was your talk? You did a talk as well.
Sorry,
your talk was accepted as well.
Yes, it's a role-playing workshop session of the TCR. So it will be an interactive, participatory kind of workshop where you get to learn about what the TCR is and how Civil is approaching designing our TCR to make sure that people who think about long-term and short-term benefits so that we can work out through all of the loopholes. So I'll share some of our user testing lessons and insights from that, but essentially I want people to participate so that you can see and feel and hear what it's like to be a part of something that, you know, you have the power to govern. So that will be an interactive workshop.
And we have a big designer party that we are hosting. Save the date, potentially 31st first. We have not decided on that, but it will be the place for designers to hang, drink, party, whatever, TBD,
And
unless you want to add.
Envision is 100% on board. They have allocated a budget for our party. The only thing that we really said we could give them in exchange was maybe like a list of who will be there, but there's no way we can know that. So if we want to do signups for the party, we can do that, but I'd like to leave it open. All we have to do is tell them there's going to be a lot of designers there, but I'm really excited.
Make sure there's Club Mate there.
Oh, there's going to be plenty of Club Mate. I specifically asked Envision for sweaty dancing and a room where people can talk if they don't feel like sweaty dancing. But I'm going for like loud music, like actual partying.
I thought Spank Chain did a really good job where there was like an inside party room and then the outside is like fire pits so people can at either like just chat if you want to get chatty.
Yeah, we need some whiteboards as well, you know, just
some post-its and whiteboards.
Yes, I mean, James, if Spank Chain wants to help with this party, it's an open engagement for everybody.
Cool, let's do it.
For sure. I'm completely serious too, by the way. Like, let's connect on this party.
Cool, sounds good. We'll do.
Awesome. And so we have one anonymous, I don't know who, like, I can't see who wrote it, one last poll that said, who is using in-product analytics? And if you're not, how are you getting quantitative data?
Sorry, it was me. Because I had a call with Kevin Kim, who's giving a talk at DevCon, and he has a background at Facebook, but he's been in this community too. And I said I'd ask about who is actually using analytics, because I've seen people going back and forth about this. So is anybody using analytics in their product?
So Status, recently I was talking to them and they said they stopped using analytics just to kind of keep in line with the community. But I don't know too many other projects that have the user base to benefit from analytics, or if they actually want to use them.
Do we think that this is an ideological? Well, James, so do you go don't or do?
We do. We have base Google Analytics, but a lot of our analytics are custom, actually. And so, yeah, I think there needs to be, and I agree in terms of the kind of ideological stance of Status. And so we use the Google Analytics on a very broad kind of general sense, and then everything else is kind of custom in-house.
Okay. And then of the people that are not using analytics or don't plan to, do you have a plan for quantitative data?
We're going to be using Alethio, but I'm not sure if that's something that we'll use on the DApp. We're still brainstorming around that because it's something we want people to be aware of and opt in versus automatically just putting analytics in the DApp. So we're still talking about that, but if we do, it would be very explicitly asking people to opt in.
Yeah, I actually really like the experience when using Ledger Wallet. You go through their onboarding and they have 3 opt-ins for analytics. I thought that was a pretty good experience. They made it explicit as one of their steps in their onboarding flow. They gave you checkboxes to opt out of. I also just dropped a link here to Dune Analytics. They're looking to go into Etherscan and basically try to do some custom analytics for DApp builders based on the transactions that are already public. So I think that actually ideologically aligns with end users. Pretty sure they're pretty new and they're looking for some projects actually to do some pilot testing with. We have a shared Slack channel with them and we're working with them for them to build us out a dashboard to do some analytics for us. I'm happy to put an email introduction to anybody, or you can reach them out.
That's super sick. That's amazing. Like, really need that.
Yeah,
from what I know, like, I think my crypto people, right? They didn't have any analytics from my chat with one of those guys, but they just look at the calls to they just look at how many calls they have the users do to the full node, I guess. And they compare with say other full nodes like Infura and such. So it's like super scrappy. But it wouldn't hurt to track how many people click the home button. You know what I mean? I think there's a middle ground there. But yeah.
And Sarah, maybe we can open up a bit this scope and imagine also if teams have quantitative UX research, even if not on current users or something, because I don't know how many will actually have analytics on a live product. So I don't know. What do you think?
For this talk in particular, I think a majority of it is going to be from past lessons on non-Web3 product. But I was trying, he asked are people, he asked me to kind of give him a sense of what people are doing currently, how are they using that type of data? And I was like, I think there's about a third who don't even know that analytics really are even a thing we use to make decisions. And then there's a third that definitely do, but there's an ideological thing. And then maybe another third that are doing SpankChain is, I don't know. I have no idea. This was my first survey. Thank you for participating, everyone.
Great. So I think that's it for today. Thank you, James, again for giving us that demo and answering all our hardball questions. And we'll definitely continue the conversation. It looks like if you haven't voted the poll, Discord is at 3, Rocket and Other at 2. So maybe we'll be moving to Discord. So thanks again, guys. And this is the wrap up.
And tomorrow, submit tomorrow your design thanks to Web3. Tomorrow, the deadline.
Perfect. Alrighty, bye everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
See you guys.
See ya. Where's the poll?